Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the 17th episode of Everyday Faith with Noah Sanders. I'm Noah Sanders, and today we're going to be discussing how we can plan for the future. And also, there's like two parts because the first part is about. I just wanted to come on here because a year ago today, like the day I'm recording, is the day that the Lord gave me a purpose. So last night, a year ago, He saved me, and then this morning when I woke up a year ago, he gave me the purpose. He gave me the vision. Um, right after saving my life, gave me purpose, and I think that's so amazing. Because looking back on it, I mean, if you're a guy watching this, like we're very purpose driven, goal oriented. Most of us. I think I can speak for most men when I say that, and just like realizing that that's what he did. He saved my life, and then immediately gave me something to focus on, something to move towards. And so I just think that's so beautiful. I'm thankful every day that I get to do this, even if it's not like I say every time, this is just for me. And if people watch, great. But just seeing the blessing, the blessing of being able to see how many people watch it, because my expectation is zero, and for I think it's like 200 or 300,000 people I've reached over all social media platforms. Like that's just crazy to me. Um, and so yeah, it's crazy to see what God is doing in my life. And it's really, and you'll catch this in the episode, like when going through the scripture, but it really all boils down to submission. So, like, the first thing I did, and I've said this in the past, is I just submitted. I gave my life back to Him, um, and He was able to use me because of that. So it really everything, and I want you to keep this in mind when reading all of this. Everything boils down to submission. So if you're submitting, all of these things will happen. Um, and you can trust in His plans for your life. You can trust in everything because you're submitting to God. You know what I mean? So just try and keep that in mind as I'm reading these, and it'll all make sense. But yeah, I just wanted to get on and just remember, you know, exactly what happened a year ago. Because I think a lot of times we can also forget about how amazing our God is, like things that He's done for us. And, we can kind of push those things under the rug and forget about it and move on too quickly. That's something that I never want to forget until the day I die is what He did for me and the way He showed up for me. Even if, I am healed from it, it's still valuable to realize and remember what He did for me. So that's all I wanted to say about that. But on another note, or on the same note, but, you know, merging onto something else, I just wanted to talk about the future. And so this isn't only like the future for your, like, if you're for like your financial future, your family, anything. This, you can apply this to anything, but the main ones I'm focusing on, the first, four scriptures I'm giving us, is you can apply this to anything, any area of your life. And then the last ones is preparing for your future wife, or if you're a woman, your future family, or like your future husband. So I just wanted to dive right in. And the first verse I have is Proverbs 16. Wait, no. First verse I have is Matthew 6:33. Sorry, they're in different orders on this. And it says, "But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." So when you're looking at your future, all you have to do is, when we submit to God, when we give our lives to God, and we just let Him control, everything follows. So when you're seeking Him first, when you're putting Him first, when your focus is on God, you really you can't really go wrong. He's going to lead you, He's going to guide you, and the blessings that you're wanting, the future that you're wanting, will be given to you. Um, and this is kind of a gray area where I'm still learning. Um, but I would say, like, as long as your future, like the things you want, are aligned with His will. But even that, like, it really doesn't say like all these things. It says all of these things will be given to you. So all of the desires that you have will be given to you. I mean, as long as they're like not like sinful or something like that. That's a no brainer. But um, you know, we have say in our future as well. So like the things we want, we can like he wants to give us those things. He's the best gift giver of all time. Like there's no one better than him when it comes to giving blessings and giving gifts. He wants to do that. So I'm not even going to say what I was going to say because that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even line up with scripture. But so seek first his kingdom, and everything that you could possibly want, as long as it's not sinful, will be given to you. And I think that's like a good foundation of where we're going with this episode, is just that right there. So the next verse I have is Proverbs 16:3, and it says, "Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established." And this is going back to the first one. So when we commit everything that we do to the Lord, He establishes our footsteps. He establishes our future because we're submitting ourselves to Him. So see, that goes back to the first one, seeking Him, and in return, our footsteps or our plans will be established. So. And then the third one I have is Jeremiah 29:11, and this is one of my favorites. But it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." So a lot of times we think like when we're thinking about our future and what God has in store for us, it's like my thought process, a year ago at first was, okay, well, I have to stop doing everything fun and I just have to focus on God. And that's not necessarily true. He wants us to have fun, and the future that he has for us, like he says here, his plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future. Like he wants us to have a good future. He wants us to have a great life here. And this isn't talking about heaven. This is talking about earth. Like he wants to prosper us. He wants to um, like bless us. He wants to give us hope and give us a future. That's not talking about heaven. That's talking about here on earth. So it's important that we realize that he wants to give us good things. He wants us to have a great life here, and he wants us to be successful in everything that we do, everything. So when we're thinking about our future, it's very important to remember that, like, because we can get discouraged sometimes, when things aren't going right, or if we're having some hiccups, like those are normal, but we also have to remember who's in control. So my biggest thought when I'm thinking about starting my own company or doing anything is when the Lord blesses me, like when the Lord tells me to go ahead and do that, there's nothing that's going to be able to stop me. I don't care if the economy as it is at an all-time low and the whole entire economy stops, my business will keep running. And I have full faith in that, because when he gives us something, nothing can take it away from us. So when he blesses us, like nothing can stop that blessing. So a lot of it is faith as well. So, that's a realization that you have to have too, is when, if the Lord is giving you something, or if the Lord is blessing you with a wife, or blessing you with a company, or blessing you with anything, nothing can take that away. I mean, obviously you can do things that get it taken away from you, but, and that just goes down to being a good steward, but nothing can take that away. No, no, nothing. So it's just important that remember that. I think that's really powerful too. And in Proverbs 21:5, it says, "Good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty." And I really like this one. I really like this because sometimes I get discouraged. Why is it taking me so long to, get to the point where I can start my own thing? Or why is it taking me so long to find a future wife? Or why is it taking me so long, like fill in the blank? And I think, like it says, hard work lead to prosperity is like the patience, having patience and just showing up every single day, like the discipline is extremely blessed. Like if you're showing up every single day despite whatever, you're just showing up and you're doing the best work, or like I stopped thinking about my future family or whatnot. Like it'd be nice, but like I'm not really worried about that. I think when the time is right, the time is right. But what I can apply this to personally is my work. If I'm taking shortcuts and I'm trying to like skip steps and do things like that are dishonest, or whatever it may be, why would God bless that? So like if I'm wanting to start my company but I'm going out and like stealing a bunch of work from people, going behind my boss's back and doing whatever, like you need to make sure that everything that you're doing is completely honest. Like For me, I work blue collar, so there's always gas tanks sitting around, diesel tanks. Diesel's expensive. I could easily go fill up my tank with that diesel tank and, take $100. My boss would never realize. But it's important that even when no one is watching, to be honest and do the right thing. And when it comes to work, I want to be the person, like I want to be the employee that I would want in the future. So everything that I do has to be honest. I have to, I work my butt off. I don't try and, you know, do something that like isn't fully complete. Like I'm not going to leave something half done, or I'm not going to do something, with half my effort, just going in there, just getting it done and getting out. You want to make sure that everything that you're doing is doing it right and doing it the right way. Because when you do that, dude, you're going to be so blessed. And I know I'm going to be blessed because of how I treat my bosses. And I'm not saying like this in a prideful way, but I know that when the time comes, I'm going to be able to find a great employee or great employees, and honest employees, because that's how I was to my boss. And that's kind of my mindset, is just, and not only because I want myself to be blessed in the future, but I just want to bless my boss, or I want to be someone that like is honest, and you can come to me, and if I messed up, I'm going to tell you I messed up, or I'm always going to be honest. Not always, but like when it comes to my work, yes, I'm always honest, but I can't say I like never lie, because I'm sure I do like little white lies or whatever, whatever that's called. But I want to be someone that my boss can trust, and I want to be the version, like I want to be someone that I would look for as if I was looking for employees. And so that's very important to do that, and not to take shortcuts. That's just do it the right way, do it the right way the first time. And you know, yeah, I I would say like a shortcut could be like if someone is offering you to, like, you're in a rush to start a business, or you're in a rush to do something, and you settle, or this is a good one, go into like your future wife, like just prepare. So like, how can we apply this to your future wife or your future husband? Good planning and hard work lead to prosperity. So becoming the right person for your husband or wife. So becoming the man. Every guy talks about, oh, I want a Proverbs 31 woman, but are you Proverbs 1 through 30 man? Because Proverbs 1 through 30 is about how to be a man, and that's pure wisdom. So are you becoming that? Or are you more focused on, finding the Proverbs 31 woman? Because think about it. Why would God give his daughter to someone that isn't prepared, isn't preparing, isn't trying to better themselves, and he's just out here searching? I mean, you could be a godly man, but if you're not preparing for your future family, he's going to be, I mean, I couldn't see him being very fast to give you his daughter. You know what I mean? Even if you would do her right and you wouldn't lead her to sin, make sure, because I can't speak for God, but I'm I have to be the best version of myself whenever that person comes into my life. And that's just mine. That's just me. Like I want to be able to make sure that I am prepared. I am, and I'll be a good steward of that gift, because your future spouse is a blessing, and that is a gift from God. So, um, and as far as taking shortcuts in that, is not settling. You don't settle for the first girl that comes into your life, and they might be an amazing person, but sometimes God doesn't lead people into your life for that. And so it's important that you don't rush it. You don't like jump into anything. You don't just jump at the first thing that comes across. Just do it the right way, because if you're focusing on yourself and you're becoming a great man or a great woman, you're going to attract the opposite sex. Like you're going to attract an amazing person, because the person that's amazing for you and the person that's for you is becoming that person and searching for that. So like you're just going to attract it, because they're going to catch on to it, they're going to see it, and they're going to get attracted to that. And so just don't even worry about it. Just focus on yourself and becoming the right person for you, instead of focusing on the future family, because that'll come. Like God knows that it's not good for a man to be alone, and it's not good for a woman to be alone. So he's going to give you a spouse, but you just focus on yourself. That's it. And then now this goes into the family. And you can also apply this, I'm sure, to like business or whatever you want to apply it to, but I'm kind of just going to be focusing on family and future spouse, whatever. So the first one I have is Psalm 127:1, and it says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it build it labor in vain." Sorry, let me restart. Unless Psalm 127:1, "Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain." So this is going back to everything I just said, pretty much. You can apply this to that too. But let the Lord guide you. Let the Lord build the house. Let the Lord do the hard work. You know, maybe not the hard, like, I don't know how to word that, but like, if you're constantly trying to do all the work, you're not trusting in God and not trusting in His plan. Like, if you're always searching for it, you're always settling, you're always trying to take shortcuts, you're not doing things the right way, that's you not trusting God and His plan for your life. So sit back, trust God, prepare for your future family, do that, and become an amazing person. Become the best version of yourself. But don't try and do what God is doing. Like, and that goes, you can apply that to literally anything. Don't try and do what only God can do. And if that's sin, or if that's, um, you know, business, or if that's the future that you're trying to, get, whatever it may be. I can talk about sin, don't try, because there's some things that you just have to let God take control of, because, and there's some sin that like I can't defeat it, so I just give it to God. And you can apply that to anything. I can't control my future. I don't want to control my future, because every time that I've controlled my future, every time that I've tried to do my own thing, it always fails every single time. So I just like God take the wheel. And that's what this is kind of saying, is you're doing it for no reason, and you're going to suffer for trying to do it yourself. And it's better just to let Him do it and let Him guide you, let Him prepare, your future, prepare your family, prepare your business, everything. Just let Him do all of it, and it'll come to you. I mean, you're preparing, but He's really preparing it. That's kind of a mind twister, but let Him do that. And I'm not saying you don't do anything. You know what I'm saying, but. And then the next one I have is Proverbs 18:22, and it says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." And this is beautiful, dude, because this reminds us that, first of all, it says, "He who finds." So this kind of spoke to me last night, and maybe not everyone's going to feel this way, but "he who finds," I think when I read that, I was like, oh, I didn't even realize it says finds, because it's not saying he who sits around and, because like, and my Tracy always tells me, um, you know, I used to run out of church, like sprint out of church. My sisters tell me it all the time. They tell me like, why did you run out of church? I think like, as soon as pastor would like end sermon, I would just be out the doors. Um, and not necessarily that I'm doing this now, but if you're looking for someone, like, stay after church. Like, go to youth group, and I'm definitely not the best at that. Like, I definitely don't attend youth group, because it's very hard for me. Like, I work a lot and very late, so it's hard for me to get there on time. But I don't think I'm being hypocritical, but try to attend youth group. Try to go out and talk to people. Try and meet people. Um, you know, because like that would be like me sitting in my room or leaving church immediately, running out the doors, not talking to anyone, and then on the weekends, and this is honestly what I do, so this is hypocritical, but I'm also not like searching for anyone. Like, I'm very good with me and God right now, and just focusing on that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But don't, if you're looking, if so, say for me, like if I was 100% ready and I'm ready to look, I can't just sit in my room and just wait. I can't, like, some Christian girl isn't gonna just, I mean, God can do anything, but more like 9 times out of 10, like 10 times out of 10, honestly, no one's gonna just come up and knock on your door and be, hey, is there a Christian man in here? Like, it's just not gonna happen. So put yourself in scenarios, put yourself in places where Christian women could be, or Christian men could be, and start talking to people. Stay after church. My church has like a um like lunch after, like free lunch. And so like if you go to my church or whatever, I don't know if anyone listens from my church other than Tracy, but um if you're looking, stay after church, eat lunch, go talk to people, or I don't know. I can't really talk about that because I mean I'm not really looking, but I just thought it was interesting. Like it says, "He who finds." Um, but yeah, just if you're looking or if you're wanting something like that and you're ready, then go look. Um, but and that's speaking to the men because it says, I forget what the Bible verse is, but the women should be pursued. Like it should be the man pursuing the woman. It should not be like the other way around. And there obviously there's scenarios like if a girl comes up to you, like I don't think that's the worst thing. Like if you find a guy attractive and you know he's a, walking in faith, then yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But just this verse is he who finds. So, us as men are supposed to pursue that. But anyway, the second part of that verse is even better. And it says he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains the favor from the Lord. And it's talking about the women here. They're a good thing. They're a gift from the Lord. And so they should be treated as such. When you finally meet that wife, or when you finally meet your wife, or who you think it will be your wife, and honestly, you should treat any woman like this, but you should treat her as like a gift from the Lord. Like, say your dad gives you well, that's not a good example, I guess, but if your dad gives you a super nice car, you're gonna take care of the car. If you're not a spoiled brat, like if you're not like if for me, I wasn't raised like super rich, like always getting everything. I was very blessed, but if my dad gave me a car, I would take very good care of that car. Um, and like because like I appreciate that gift, and so I'm gonna take care of it, and so that can be applied to God giving you His daughter too. We need to take that seriously for one. That's not just God giving me my wife is not just some like, oh, here's another blessing for you. No, that's like a very important blessing and something that you should not take lightly. And so you should treat them with like respect, treat them like they are precious rubies, like it says in Proverbs 31. I forget what the verse is, but they are precious rubies. So you need to treat them like that. And if you're a girl, don't settle for anything less. You should be getting king treatment, bro. Or not king, but princess treatment. Like you should be getting treated like a queen. And I wouldn't settle for anything less because a godly man will treat you like that. And if they're not treating you very good, or if they're like not opening doors for you, if they're not showing up with flowers or like doing those little things, I don't know. Like I don't know. I wouldn't like that. I mean, if my sister was dating someone and they were not doing anything like that, dude, I would have a problem with them. So, that's just important. Like, we need to treat them as gifts, as they are. And then it says in 1 Corinthians 13:4-7, it says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. And I just wanted to include this because you need to be becoming this. Like you need to embody the fruits of the Spirit and you need to embody what love is. And so, because if you can't be those things, if you can't be patient, if you can't be kind, if you can't be non-envious, if you can't not boast, if you can't protect, if you can't trust, that's a big one in our society. If you can't trust, if you can't trust like that, um, I know trust issues are bad in this generation, but um, when I know that the Lord has given me a wife, I need to be able to trust that the Lord gave me that wife in the first place. Like I'm trusting that it's from the Lord, and then I'm trusting that the Lord wouldn't give me something that would do something terrible to me. So that's another big one. And then always hopes, always perseveres. So you need to be those things for your future wife, and you need to be preparing yourself um, for those things. And if you read any of those, if you can't be patient, if you got a problem with patience, focus on patience. If you can't be kind all the time, if you can't be like your words need to be kind. You need to speak life into that person. If you can't do that, work on it. If you can't be envious, if you can't be jealous of like them spending more time with other people, that's another big one. If you can't do that, seriously like start fixing those things because you're not ready. And then if you're gonna, I don't know how to apply boastful. Like if you're, I don't know, maybe like if as a man, like maybe putting yourself like on a higher pedestal than your wife or your girlfriend. Like, you're putting yourself, like, making yourself look better than, like, feeling like you're higher than them or whatever, because it says, like, that's just silly. Don't do that. Maybe that's what that means, but um always protects, like, obviously us as men need to protect, um hopes and perseveres. Those are self-explanatory, but yeah, you just need to be becoming those things. And then Ephesians 5:25, it says, "Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." And so this is another one. Like, everyone's always talking about, women need to submit, you know, I'm the head of the household, blah, blah, blah. Okay, are you willing to die for your wife? Are you willing to, because I mean, if you look at Jesus, he was a servant. He came as the Son of God and was a servant to those around him. So are you ready to serve? Are you ready to put yourself below your wife? Are you ready to die for your wife? Are you ready to kill your selfish ambitions, your selfish needs, your needs? Are you willing to kill your needs and put hers before yours? Like, no one wants to talk about these things. I don't know why. Like, why do men never talk about these things? And they're always just Proverbs 31 woman, or I want a woman that'll submit. I want a woman, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, you're not even embodying what. And then they wonder why God hasn't given them someone, is because, dude, you are a walking train wreck. Like, you're not even ready for it. You're like putting yourself on this pedestal, like, oh, I need a 10 out of 10. She's got to be a supermodel. Like, she's got to be perfect. She's got to be submissive, but you're not even worth submitting to. How about that, dude? You're not even worth submitting to. Like, why would a godly woman submit to you? That doesn't even make any, like, if you were a woman, you wouldn't even submit to yourself. So you have to be the man that is worth submitting to. And when I say submitting, I don't mean this whole nasty, like, oh, she has to do whatever I say. No, it's not like that. It's just submitting to, okay, I am submitted to God. No one wants to talk about that either. Talking about submitting, but you also have to submit. You have to submit to God. And if you're not submitting to God, you can't expect submission. It doesn't work like that. But I need to be submitting to God, and because I'm submitting to God, and because she knows I'm submitting to God, she submits to me as the head of the household for sure. But in order to even do that, and also if I'm submitting to God, I'm not going to treat her as less than, or all these disgusting things that people say when they say submit. Like, it's not like that. I'm submitting to God, I'm submitting to him, she's submitting to me, and it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like, because I'm submitting to him, she can feel comfortable submitting to me because she knows I'm not going to lead her in the wrong direction because I'm submitting to God, if that makes sense. But you need to love your wife as Christ loved the church, and Jesus died for the church. So if you're not ready for that, if you are not ready to, for one, submit to God, and then two, put her needs above yours, be a servant, you know, you're not ready. So you got to prepare in that too. Um, and this verse is kind of piggybacking off of that. It says, it's Philippians 2:3, and it says, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves." And I wanted to imply this because we need to, when you're looking for your future wife or your future husband, you need to, I don't know, I can't really speak for women, but I think it goes the same. If you're a woman, I mean, yeah, you should like you should be putting his needs before your own. But only, here's where I want to go with this. You need to be dating someone that is submitting to the Lord. And assuming you are dating someone that is submitting to the Lord, and this is to the women, you should feel comfortable, and you need to be comfortable with submitting to him because you know he's submitting to the Lord. And so you do need to put his needs before your own. But if he's submitting to the Lord, he's already going to be doing that to you. He's already going to be putting your needs before his own. So it's just you're both doing it. But you know, we need to be thinking of people, and honestly, this isn't just for family. Obviously, this is for anyone. We need to be servants out in society. We need to be putting other people's needs before our own. And obviously with boundaries and stuff like that. That goes without saying. But I just wanted to apply that because it's, for one, it's a powerful verse, it's deep. But two, that's a good reminder for the husbands and wives out there. If you're looking, you need to be willing to do that. And the last one I have is 1 Timothy 5:8, and it says, "But if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." And I I know that came off a little strong, and it probably is a little shocking that I don't know, that just is very out of the you know, the what am I trying to say? Theme that I'm going with here. But I just wanted to warn the men out there because this verse especially hits me hard, and that's why I work my butt off and I like work as much as I can. It's because I got to provide. Like, this is literally saying if you do not provide for your family, you're worse than an unbeliever. So you need to be getting out there and providing. If you're sitting at home playing video games and doing all this stupid stuff, like, sure, I mean, I don't play video games, so I mean, obviously I'm not like super for it, but I mean, with anything, there's healthy, you know, like you can do it in a healthy amount. You don't need to be sitting on it for 10 hours a week. Um, but, you need to be providing for the family. You need to be going out and working no matter what. No matter, like, it don't matter if you're sick. I would even go as far as to say that, bro. Like, you need to be getting off your butt, even if you're sick, even if like you got a little cold, dude. Like, keep showing up. Just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep showing up, no matter the circumstances. If and honestly, my rule is if I'm like I missed one day this week, and that's like the first day I've missed in month. Like I don't even know when the last time I actually missed. But I was throwing up. So, I mean, that's obviously okay. That's a given. I'm throwing up. I shouldn't go to work. But my rule is if I show up to work and I still feel sick and I just still feel groggy, I'll go to work and I'll go for like an hour or two. I'll let myself like wake up. Maybe I'll take get some coffee or something, try and wake me up. And if I still don't feel good, okay, then I'll go home. But I mean, you just gotta like persevere. You just gotta like have some grut or some grit, not grit. I don't know where that came from, but you have to have some grit as a man and just be able to like go to work no matter the circumstances, show up no matter what. Um, and obviously the Bible doesn't really say that, but I mean that's like as a man, that's what I strive to do, and I think that's a healthy thing to do, and I think that's part of manlyhood. You know, got too many people around me, bro, that like don't work or don't work enough. Like if you're not getting this is kind of stupid, but like 60 hours, bro, you need to be working. If you're making like good money, 40 hours, sure, but you need to be working as much as possible. Like you need to be working at least 40 hours. Anything less than 40 hours, what are you doing? Any job you get full time is 40 hours. And if they offer overtime, go get overtime if it's, I mean, obviously available. But you need to be working. Like, you should not be working 20 hours a week as a 23-year-old man. And then you're also wanting a girl. Like, it doesn't even make any sense, dude. What are you doing with your life? You're not even, like, doing anything with your life. And then you want a girl to come join you and not doing anything with your life? Like, what are you striving towards? What are your goals? What are you working towards? You know what I mean? Like, why would you want a girl to just come and join you and doing nothing and not striving towards anything? Like, and what girl would want to do that? Probably not one that you want to marry. You know what I mean? So, just you got to focus. You got to put your head down and just grind, go forward. And because looking back to when I first moved to Florida, I had zero work ethic. I was working like 10 hours a week. My stepdad was going to give me a business, and I could have really done something with that, honestly. And I just let it go to crap. And then, like, just wasn't working, wasn't motivated, wasn't doing anything. And so I told myself when I moved down here, I was just like, I'm just going to put my head down. I'm going to learn how to work, and I'm going to put myself in the worst environment. It's blue collar construction in Florida heat. Like nothing is worse than that. And it was in August, so the hottest time of the year. So I was coming from Indiana, not working much, had no money in my bank account, wasn't had no work ethic. I had zero work ethic. I like whenever I was in high school, I was just going job to job to job to job, never could keep a job. And so I don't know what flipped in me. Maybe it was putting yourself in a scenario where you have to provide and you have to work. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what some of you need to do, is just get out of your comfort zone. But yeah, doing that was the biggest blessing because I learned how to work, and now it's like nothing. And that's not boastful. It's just you got to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. If you're never uncomfortable, what kind of life is that? Like that goes, and that's why. Sorry, it's the dogs. But that goes, and that's why I'm so against college and school and all that stuff. And obviously, if you're going for something important, great. But like all school teaches you is there's only one answer. You know, it's bad to be wrong. It's bad to fail. And in real life, it's amazing to fail because you learn so much. And like you just need to be able to like take the biggest risks of your life and fail and be okay with it. Because like I've failed so many times the last 3 years that I've lived here, and so like you're and I've learned every like man I if I went to college, wouldn't have half of the knowledge that I have now because I would have went for something stupid and I would have wasted time. But instead, I put myself in a really uncomfortable position, moving 1,000 miles away from my family by myself. Just packed my stuff in a car, drove down here, and started working. I mean, there was really no telling if I even had a job for sure when I got down here. There was like a couple offers or different things I had options, but just put yourself in an uncomfortable position. Like that's when you live. If you're always comfortable, if you're always still living with your parents and for no reason, if you're living with your parents because like you're just trying to save money and you're being smart about it, great. But if you're just living there because you just don't want to work and you just don't want to have to like step up as a man, you're not even a man yet. You're a boy. You're still a boy living with your parents. You haven't grown up yet. You haven't even experienced any life. So you got to do that. And it's stressful at first. It might be hard, but it's so good. You have to do it as a man. You have to do it. And so, and that's really common in this society is just 30-year-old boys still living with their parents, still, and maybe not living with their parents, but just like living in a cheap, like if I'm telling you right now, if you go out and you just grind, you're gonna get paid good. You're gonna find a good paying job. You're gonna be able to have a nice, house working for someone. You're gonna be like, you can do it. But if you're just wanting to be mediocre, then go be mediocre. But don't expect a amazing wife or amazing family, amazing future. You can't expect that because you're sowing mediocre, so you're gonna reap mediocre. But if you're sowing like success, prosperity, you're working hard, you're doing everything, you're disciplined, you're going to reap that. You're going to reap the benefits of that. So it's just important to remember that. And then I just want to leave us with 4 steps that you can apply right now. And the first one is become the man God can trust his daughter with. Yeah, that's a good one. I really like that. And instead of focusing on, like I said, instead of focusing on the daughter, God's daughter, you should be focusing on becoming the man for God's daughter. And the second one is become a spiritual warrior. Because with business, with anything, you can apply that to anything. There's going to be spiritual battles. If you're submitting to God and you're just keeping your eyes on Him, you're going to have spiritual warfare all around you. So it's important that you become a spiritual warrior for your business, for your family, for your wife. Like if you can't see you and your wife getting on your knees and praying together and like fighting out battles together, you're not even like what's the point of being married, honestly? Like if you're not looking for a partner in your life, like someone to do life with and someone to have kids with and someone to spend what time we have here saving people, doing things for the kingdom, raising godly children. Like if that's not your goals, then you got to realign your goals because that's very important and that's really the only point of marriage. It's not like it's not so that you can just get your sexual desires out. That's not what it is at all. That's part of it, but I mean, not even like I wouldn't even say part of it. I mean, sure, it's part of it, whatever. But it's not the main goal. You know, if you're just looking to get married so that you can have sex, you're not looking for the right thing, and God's not going to give you his daughter if that's your goal. And then the third one I have is become a leader. And that's very important, and that goes back to discipline, grit, you know, just becoming a man. You know, you want to become a leader. You know, you want to become someone that a woman is like, a woman looks at you and is like, yeah, I would follow that person. Like wherever he's going, I want to go. And so that's very important that you become that. And you can prepare for that. Like I think I gave you some steps, but just, yeah, I did give you a lot of steps actually, but become a leader, because your responsibility in a marriage, your role is to lead. So if you're not a leader, then how are you going to fulfill your role in marriage? You know, that's kind of like marriage 101 right there. But fourth one is become a provider. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier too. Become a provider. That's your role as well. So you, and that kind of goes hand in hand with leader, but um, yeah, we just got to start preparing. You know, it's not just, okay, sit around and once I get my wife, then I'll become the man, or then I'll start working on things I need to. And honestly, I'll be honest. My thought process was I used to be addicted to, like, I used to be a very, like, lust-filled person, addicted to anything that fulfilled my desire. And I always thought, okay, when I get married, then I'll fix that. But in reality, that's like totally twisted. Like, that's completely backwards. You need to prepare now so that you, when your wife, like when you meet your wife, she doesn't have to like take on all this baggage that you're carrying around from the past, and you're still healing from things, and you're like, you want to be fully prepared so that way it's just very easy for her. Like if nothing else, do it for your future wife or your future husband. You know what I mean? Like do it for them. Start healing for them. If you're not going to do it for yourself, then do it for them. Because you don't want to put like more strain on the relationship or make it harder, or you just want to make it very easy. And you know, you want to be it just to go very like with the flow. You know, you don't have to try too hard to make it work or whatever. um but yeah, I just wanted to give this episode because I talked about it last episode, and I just, you know, these are things that I'm trying to do and I'm working on. So, you know, I just wanted to give the other men out there, the other women who aren't married, or even if you are married, you can still apply a lot of these things. um but yeah, these are just some steps for you. um and you know, if you apply these, you'll find that person in no time. You know, obviously God's timing, but if you just stop worrying about finding that person and stop looking and just start focusing on yourself, that person will get attracted to you and that person will come. So yeah, those are some steps, those are some things that I'm doing, and I hope that helps, you know. So I'm just going to pray for us, and then we'll close, and I'm going to go to bed. So Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to speak. Thank you for giving me this message. Thank you for speaking to me and through me, Father. I just pray that this message reaches the right audience, touches their heart, and causes them to act on the message and act on these steps that you've given them. And I just pray that the viewers are blessed, that they are you continue to give them patience in their season of waiting if they're waiting. And for the men out there that maybe struggle to find the motivation to become the man that they need to be, Father, I just pray that you give them the motivation, give them the vision of who they could be, and guide them towards that, Father. And I just pray that you continue to work on our hearts, continue to align our hearts with yours, Father, continue to do the work that you need to do in us, build us into the people that we need to be for your kingdom, for your will, for your plans in our life, Father. I just pray that you continue to lead us into the plans that you have for us, Father. And we know they are great. We know that they are amazing and beyond anything that we could possibly imagine. And I just pray that you bless the viewers. And in Jesus' name, amen. Guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for the continuous support. I know this one might be, I don't know how long this is, but it's probably a little bit longer. So I apologize. I just wanted to get this across because this is very important. But I love you guys. Thank you for listening. And God bless you guys.